Rick Prellinger likes an interactive audience.
Okay, we'll take the shortcut. Welcome to Occupy the Castro. We want to thank the organist, Warren Lubitsch. And the amazing team here at the Castro Theater. I'm Stuart Brand from the Long Now Foundation. I'm going to put in a brief pitch for membership. How many members of the Long Now Foundation are here? Ooh, you're probably going to show your cards and call out your numbers. We're almost to 4,000 members, and I think we're at 3,680. You can do the math. We'd love to get to 4,000 by the end of the year. When that happens, the membership will be supporting 1/3 of the whole general fund of the Long Now Foundation with all of its activities. And that makes you members the largest donor. So thank you now and in advance. Members, besides getting guaranteed seats and, quote, free tickets to these events, the seminars about long-term thinking, also get early access to some things. There's going to be a major announcement of our 10,000-year clock, which you may know is now under construction in West Texas. That will come to the members first. And we're contemplating a whole new project, which is a deep, dark secret for now. Members will be the first to know about it because we need your help while it's still tentative thinking it through. So membership involves engagement at an intellectual level. Rick Prellinger is joined tonight by panelists who we got Ed Holmes and Woody LaBounty, who he will introduce. Rick Prellinger, show us what film history looks like.
Thanks, Stuart. My God, the Castro. I mean, what happens? Is it back to Counterpulse after this? Maybe it should be. Thank you all for coming. How many of you are, for this is your first Lost Landscape show? Oh, a bunch. Okay, welcome. Welcome. Number 6, very difficult to believe. Some of you who I hoped would be here are not here, and I hope you'll tell your friends that we're going to have a repeat screening on January 24th at Internet Archive. Let's see, a couple things I wanted to say. I owe thanks to many, many people for helping to make this come together. It's more names than I could ever read right now, but the credits at the end of the film will show you a long list of people who've donated home movies and family films, shared them with me, led me to new sources. As I always say, I would be delighted to hear from any of you who have material or who know of any. And for those of you who've donated film but not yet seen it, please forgive me for being slow. You've shared abundance, and it takes a while to sift through abundance. Stuart mentioned our panelists. We have Ed Holmes, who is a longtime San Francisco transgressor. His career has encompassed membership in the San Francisco Mime Troupe. He's also Bishop Joey on St. Stupid's Day of the First Church of the Last Laugh, and will contribute years of San Francisco experience and maybe a note of unseriousness to this. And Woody LaBounty, aided by David Gallagher of the Western Neighborhoods Project, which is an amazing local history institution. OutsideLands.org for you who have your smartphones on. By the way, you can leave them on. Tonight is the first high-def Lost Landscapes screening, so Forgive me my glitches. It combines images from many sources, travelogues, industrial films, and these amazing what are called process plates in Hollywood, these background shots that were made for rear projection in feature films. And a great deal of the footage tonight comes from home movies. So for years, classical archives focused mostly on collecting institutional records, traces of history that were left by governments, by corporations, by organizations, by churches, and so on. But today we've tipped into an age where individuals are creating vast amounts of data, and if it's kept, the historical trails will be thick and dense. And in fact, I think personal records, which include home movies, have overtaken the records of organizations, institutions, and governments, certainly in mass and I think importance. And if you imagine the archives of the future, I spend a bunch of time thinking about the archives of the future. I think people are going to be much more interested in records relating to individuals' lives than otherwise. Already, genealogy and local history are very popular. And we need to think about what we're going to save, how we're going to make it accessible. It's the key to understanding history, memory, and the future of archives. I mean, it's sort of, personal records interest the public a lot more than others. I don't do so much with educational films anymore. I love home movies, and here are some 1,000, 1,300 of you plus waiting to watch other people's home movies, so that kind of proves the point. And personal records, even just home movies, they're essentially infinite. So if we can figure out how to save them, we've licked a big, big problem. And also, home movies and the records of individuals' lives are kind of a workaround because so much history is under copyright. It's locked down, it's enclosed, very hard to touch, very hard to work with. So that although we might not be able to use a piece of music in something that we might make ourselves, we could use people dancing, we could use people reacting, we could use the way that it impacted our personal lives. And finally, records of ordinary people's lives, they cut to the core about how we think about sharing and transparency. Everybody often, lots of journalists talk about how we're living in very transparent times, but we really aren't, because governments and corporations know much more about us than we know about them. And aside from those of us that are still active on Facebook, we don't really like strangers knowing what we're doing. So we kind of have to figure this out. We may have to wait for a society that's built on greater trust before we start sharing these things. But so, as I always say, I hope this event is as much about San Francisco's future as it is about the fascinating past. The new issue of the new California Northern magazine, have any of you seen this? It's really worth looking at. It's on imagining utopia, and in it, my co-librarian Megan says, people who jump nimbly between historical consciousness and future-oriented thinking have particular latitude to build flourishing utopian spaces, which I think sounds like a pretty good description of us in this room tonight. People who jump nimbly between historical consciousness and future-oriented thinking. Let's not, I'm going to follow Stuart with his Occupy the Castro. Let's not simply accept the adulterated versions of utopia that you can buy with a credit card. I've bonded with my smartphone too, but utopia is not a product. This is one of these moments in history where large numbers of us are thinking about the kind of world that we'd like to spend our lives in. So after the show, let's go out and make it happen. So finally, you are the soundtrack. Most of these films are silent, and even if they weren't, you have permission, and I'm really asking you, speak up. If you've been here before, you know what this is all about. If you know what something is, yell it out. If you don't, ask a question. If you dispute what somebody else has to say, make some noise. And we'll have a great time. Thank you so much. This is our traditional opening. This was shot by Mr. John Summers in August 1941 as he flew into SFO. No, he was a fare-paying passenger. Yes, it is, but it's bigger.
That's the kind of insight we get at these events.
I spend a year thinking those things up. Yes, which will.
Friendly skies. Please take off your shoes. Take off your shoes.
Child of old Spain, the Argonaut 49, Vigilantes of 56. Child of the mind, the autumn, the mountains, the sea. A city of romance and glamour. This is San Francisco.
This is about 1947, and it's an outtake from an unknown feature film. Maybe somebody can identify it. The studio is Columbia Pictures. This is a very big room, so you're going to have to raise your voices. Very good. Free popcorn.
Residential suburbs across the bay, Ferryboat provides fast and convenient transportation for the thousands of workers and shoppers who commute to the city every day.
That didn't carry over to Bart. Eating on Bart.
In San Francisco's cosmopolitan crowds are many Orientals and Latins. The descendants of the sturdy pioneers who made the romantic history of this metropolis of Western waterfront.
For years, the churning pedestals have carried a steady procession of people, workers and lovers, honest men and neighbors, the living stream of humanity which makes up a great city. The world's two biggest bridges, the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, will be more than 8 miles long. A mighty span of speed drives majestically into the sky, growing like magic, awe-inspiring proportions. North of the world's outstanding challenge to bridge builders, the Golden Gate surrenders at last to the vision and ingenuity of engineers.
And we're coming off the Bay Bridge, the Fremont Street off-ramp in the late 40s. Rincon Hill.
It's primer.
The primer coat.
Rincon Hill was a fashionable part of San Francisco in the 1850s, and they kept cutting away at it, and then finally the Bay Bridge pretty much obliterated it.
Yeah.
There's just yahoos.
So this is the material that was shot to be the background in a movie scene. Somebody might be sitting in a cab and you would see this projected in the background. Okay, so you've all seen Market Street 1906 just before the earthquake, right? Many times over. You've all had it emailed. So this is a similar trip backwards, but it's Market Street in the late 30s, and shortly we'll go to wartime Market Street And the detail in this material is so rich compared to the Market Street of today. I wanted you all to be able to see this. Actually, this is 1943-ish.
That's a Packard, the car on the right.
Packard on the right, we're getting an identification of the car on the right. And that's the ferry building in the background. There's your induction station on the left there.
Yes, fundraising during the war.
Are any of the shops going by still there?
I saw Patrick and Company, which I've bought things at.
Yeah, you can buy a like file folder for $35 there.
I bought a box last week, it was $12.
Oh, right. Never mind, I'm exaggerating. Lots of parking on Market Street, though, huh? You can park there.
Well, this was during the war when pleasure driving was banned and the nationwide speed limit was 35, and you'll see ration stickers in the front windows, windshields of cars, so not all these cars are necessarily supposed to be out there. See those little square stickers?
There's the Bare Butt Mechanic statue just passing over there to the left on Battery. Statue of the Bare Butt Mechanics, if you haven't seen that.
See that great sign on the left?
Yeah, it's spinning over there.
And these are the white front cars of the Market Street Railway.
That was like a hypno wheel. It was like support the war effort.
And this is all fill dirt San Francisco, too. That's everything from Battery down to the eastern edge is fill dirt.
This is, yeah, that's the one, well, the J car, that's Muni, so the letters are. But this is the one California, you get on the bus today, but it used to be a streetcar. That's a cow catcher. Catch all the cows.
The rack is to scoop up people that fell down in front of it. Seriously.
It was supposed to be a safety thing, but apparently it didn't really work, right?
So
It just diced him into julienne fries.
So somebody asked where this film comes from. It was it was from a studio stock footage library, and they junked it. It's nitrate, and this is a high def transfer from the original 35 millimeter negative, which is why there's so much great detail. So it's
California School of Beauty Culture.
This block is removed. This block is removed for the Powell Street Plaza, Powell and Market.
Palladio Plaza.
Oh, there's the Telenews. That's the one. Jack, that was the one that used to show only newsreels. Is that right? 24 hours a day newsreels.
Newsreels, and also, by the way, some industrial films.
This block's still there. See the Humboldt Bank on the right.
Yeah, the Humboldt Bank building up on the left on
Fourth, is it? No.
4th and Mark. Yeah, it's near 4th. 5th and 6th? It's 4th, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, we're at 6th. We're talking about the Humboldt Bank building.
So this is burlesque, right?
I don't think public transportation was much faster back then than it is today. It seems pretty slow.
Health food store. Painless Parker. Okay, it's post-war, and we're at Market, and about, this is Van Ness coming up, and we're coming into town.
That's more like it.
But this neighborhood was exciting back then. It's the Twitter building.
Yeah.
The Fox on the right.
Yeah, the Fox Theater on the right there. There it goes. So these 4 tracks on Market Street with all the streetcars, people were getting run over all the time. If you look at the old newspapers, it's like, I couldn't believe how often people were getting mangled by a streetcar. But they were tougher back then, right, Rick?
So we're about to turn down 6th.
Well, the Golden Gate's still there.
It's the European version here. Frisco. Anybody have problems with calling this city Frisco? No. Right. Okay. Sailors and gold miners called it that, so it's okay.
Awning is still there like that.
33 Buick?
Man is gregarious. You live in those places of the earth where there's already somebody else. But cities can grow and grow until the lives of the inhabitants, the ones there since birth, and the ones who came yesterday, and the ones on their way, until their lives become tedious and the pleasure begins to fade. The colonies of the place not of people, but of machines. A place not of life, but of decay.
Merry Christmas.
And crowds and wheels have all but crushed what was once the promise of our cities. A good place to work, to play, to live. It is a challenge flung at the people of virtually every major city on earth.
Kaiser Building, right?
This is one such place, the San Francisco Bay Area, bisected by water, split by hills, clinging to cliffs, spread along shifting dunes of sand. These surprises of earth and elements make this a place of beauty. They are also barriers to people on the move. And if the region is to remain vital,
Uh-oh.
people must move, tens of thousands at a time. The answer is in the project name for this region, for this era.
I was so worried it was going to be a freeway. That was
I'm sorry, that was the best part of the film.
It's a health club now.
Women-only benches.
One percenter.
The park used to have all sorts of animals, herds of sheep and that sort of thing. Golden Gate Park.
That was from a 1935 Fox Movietone film donated by Jack Tilmany. Thank you, Jack.
Who's in the audience tonight?
Who's in the audience? This is Market Street at dusk during the war. People are getting ready to party.
Yeah, there's the telenews again.
This is Market in Castro, 1932. Snow on Twin Peaks.
Yeah, 32. There were tons of photos. Everybody went out and took a picture.
Tonight will be no exception.
For during the months from May and October, most lovable of the city's inhabitants is the Golden Gate Park. His friendliness, even with strangers, is typical of all of San Francisco.
So this is the old produce market, which is now the Golden Gateway Center. We were heading down Washington Street. Where are we now? Help. Davis. That's right. This is the only footage of this place I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was torn down in the early 60s.
Thieves Highway was filmed on location. Thieves Highway was filmed on location there.
Uh-huh. The film Thieves Highway was filmed on location here. I wonder if these are outtakes from Thieves Highway.
It was a blighted part of town they were going to
Oh,
renovate.
this is the old Hall of Justice in Portsmouth Square. It's the only footage I had, so I slowed it down. So these are home movies from the G family. You may remember from past years. This is a little excerpt. Kathy G's in the audience tonight. And this is the mid to late 40s. And Kathy, what is the school? Do you remember?
Gene Parker, yeah. Too close.
There's one of me carrying the baby.
And some, just a few feature outtakes. Many, many films were set in Chinatown with very little regard for what the real Chinatown was like. But the footage has great documentary value. There's quite a lot of this, so I just picked a few clips.
Did I say Wimpy?
Yeah, Wimpy was the name of the camera person.
Oh, I thought maybe it was a Popeye movie or something.
The Lipo Bar.
Chase scene?
Yep.
I can see Barbara Streisand in the passenger seat.
Yes, Grant Avenue, formerly DuPont Street.
DuPont guy.
DuPont guy. It's not Chinese food.
He probably will.
This is a low-budget bullet version. Didn't have a car.
Maybe it's a mistake to keep it out of the papers and not to let the public know what the rocket is.
And somewhere there was an A-bomb, assembled, loaded, and ready. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. Another normal day in the life of the city. But where do you go? What do you do in an emergency of this sort?
That was the trailer, and these are the outtakes.
North Beach, huh?
Yeah, this is the non-touristy side of North Beach.
Pretty much looks the same now.
This is Upper Kearney, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's one way.
There's no parking then either. And look at all the garbage. I mean, people, it was dirty back then too. Everybody acts like, you know, we're the only ones dropping our Twinkie wrappers, but.
So they're covering the different angles, right? If two people were skiing in a car so that they could, this is the beer hall, which I like right up there. The pool hall. Oh, okay, do people know where we're going? Exactly, Telegraph Hill before the streets were all paved. This is just about 1927, I think it had just opened up. A year or two before, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, there's Julius Castle.
With a turntable.
For 30 or more states and times, San Francisco is a terminus. Here is the stepping-off place for Australia, the Orient, and Hawaii. The departure of an express liner is a weekly ceremony. Passengers receive an impressive send-off as they start on their voyage through the Golden Gate out into the broad Pacific.
Fisherman's Rock. I think we need some chase music.
So the Embarcadero Freeway is under construction. We're all of one mind on that. These are outtakes from the lineup, 1957.
Yeah, that's about it.
We will see more from this, but they left an amazing trail of San Francisco footage. I like it when the actors don't get in the way.
Just trying to tell you something, Ed.
That's why I'm sitting back here.
Yeah, Market Street right there.
The Ensign Cafe, it said. Yeah.
Bloody Thursday, July 5, 1934, Stewart Street, Audifrid Building.
This is where the bad guy meets his end in the lineup, right?
Yep.
He drives up here and, of course...
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
All right. Well, you know it's not going to end good. Look at that. I come from the land of fog. It's good for your complexion.
Well, as Woody said, everybody photographed the snowstorm. These are two families, home movies of the snowstorm, cut down from, I would say, 15 minutes. Climate change.
79 years.
This is Nob Hill, isn't it? They lived on, I think, on California. Lafayette Square. Thank you. Good question. Until about 1933, you had to be comfortable because home movies cost, this is another family, the Larson family. Home movies cost about $2 a minute, which today would be about 25 a minute, more or less. And then in 1933, they put out 8mm, and in the 30s, you start to see working class people shooting home movies, and suddenly home movies become diverse and they encompass just a wide variety of experience and activities, and they get really, really cool. But this is 16mm. This was a comfortable family.
Do you know what the location is here, Rick?
I don't.
Okay.
I need help.
What's their name?
Yeah, it kind of looks like the marina. Somebody said, I think that might be.
Might be the marina. This was the Larson family.
Was school canceled that day?
Was it a school day? I mean,
I
a
think it
snow
was
day at
Sunday,
school?
but here we're somewhere else now.
That looks west of Twin Peaks, maybe.
Yep. We got a house number here for the benefit of Western Neighborhoods detectives.
We think 1408, that's too high. Nope.
The fleets of small boats which provide the population with fresh Pacific seafood.
Too much mercury.
Parisians go to market for onion soup, Londoners for hot sausage, but San Franciscans go for delicacies of the sea.
So Fisherman's Wharf was a wartime security zone. Do you see the sign? No cameras permitted. U.S. Army.
This is Jefferson.
This is an unidentified family visiting San Francisco in about 1959. eBay. Yep. Oh, so, okay, here people are congregating on the site of the Panama Pacific International Exposition, or PPIE. This is footage from Jack Tilmany. Thanks so much again. And I wonder if anybody can tell us a little more about what's going on. I think it's a groundbreaking ceremony, isn't it?
Sure.
Maybe it's an Easter egg hunt. I don't know. What are they doing?
Yeah, that's the old gas. I don't know how that gas thing works, but that was in the marina for years, that giant gas building.
By Safeway.
What year is this?
Well, the fair was in 1915, so
I think it's a little earlier.
yeah, so
though,
this
than
must have been a couple years before.
12 or 13, maybe.
A lot of it was fill. This is where Washerwoman's Lagoon was, right? In that area, where it used to be marshland, essentially. And when they had the fair, they were like, great, we'll have a fair, we'll get everybody out here, and then we'll build a whole bunch of houses on it.
There's really wonderful pictures at the San Francisco Main Library website from here at this time. This is Chrissy Field in the very late 20s, very early 30s.
Crash.
Oh, right, so it's got to be early 30s. There's the bridge. I'm forgetting my preparation. Uh-huh. This footage comes from Phil Arnaud. There's trails that have been named after Mr. Arnaud, and these are his family films, and it's the bridge opening.
Everybody dressed like a cowboy back.
They had that old Fiesta thing.
Yeah.
They were like, what happened?
There weren't any lights. There weren't lights on the bridge.
Those lights, yeah, those lights were there from the beginning.
And in '87, there were like 500,000 people did the walk on the bridge. Anybody be there? Anybody raise your hand if you were on the bridge? You
Yeah.
almost died that day.
yeah, my wife was in the middle, and
The bridge went like this, went.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is another family on the same day.
Looks like a lovely day for the
Yeah, it does look like it.
Tie was always required in San Francisco.
Didn't they say the tolls were going to pay for the bridge and it'd be free?
They always do. This is some random, probably honeymoon footage, family from Tennessee.
Aha, Ocean Beach, Playland. Hooray! There's the Chutes ride. It was like a water ride with no seat belts. And that windmill, the Murphy windmill, just got restored. If you go out there, you can see it, yeah.
So we're in the late 50s now.
This is when the Whitney brothers, I think, owned the Cliff House and Sutro Baths. Oh, we have Whitney Brothers fans. Yeah, ice skating then. Swimming wasn't paying real well anymore, and they were going with a tropical theme. You could go to the beach inside Sutro Baths where they had sand, and then they had ice skating nearby, which was kind of an odd juxtaposition.
There it is. Not enough people actually turn their camera over to the baths.
No.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, that's the giant camera, the camera obscura inside there.
That's just what's on all these process plates, so you could get a little context here. This is Sutro's outtakes from the lineup.
Flying.
Those nuns look suspicious. Awesome. There's your ice skating. Great. I've never seen that, Rick. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to go by the little museum in there where they had Egyptian mummies, real Egyptian mummies, and coin collections and stuffed pumas and all sorts of oddities.
Anybody walked the Coastal Trail up from Mary Way? This is the Coastal Trail in 1927. And where you see the little bit of a shipwreck now, that square piece of metal, there's the shipwreck. Mile Rock. Yeah, what's this vessel?
Well, that could be, there was a few shipwrecks there, but there were sister ships, the Lyman Stewart and the Frank S. Buck, and they were built in the same shipyard and launched the same year, and they crashed in the same place.
It's serentypical. Stuff like that always happens around here.
Yeah. Louise is back in business, hooray.
Mary Way parking lot.
Whoa. Oh, no Seal Rock
No Seal Rock
Motel.
Inn.
Yeah. Hey, that's Papa Ops TV. That was around for years, that van. Is this lineup too?
Yeah, this is a outs from the chase scene in the lineup, one of the chase scenes.
Yeah, you're going to end up at the Veterans Hospital over here.
Fort Miley Vets Hospital is on the right. How did I get this film? The studio gave it to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine sold it to somebody else, and somebody else junked it, and Internet Archive now owns it. And I've transferred it for us tonight.
Lincoln Park on the right.
Yeah,
Yes.
the lineup. I think we're going to go up to the Palace of the Legion of Honor, it looks like, into Lincoln Park. This was a cemetery back in the 1800s, and now it's a golf course.
Same thing.
Filled with bodies. Filled with bones.
Some of the same residents, right? Yeah.
Oh, hey, down by 3rd Street, the Bayside Motel. Went derelict some years back.
Hourly rates. Right?
What's that hood ornament? Who knows that hood ornament? Ford? No, not Edsel.
So, from Jack Tilmany, this, I believe, is Valencia Street, and I believe it's a parade to see the American soldiers off to World War I, which would make this about 1917. Maybe some people who know about the mission have some other thoughts.
Well, there's a campaign sign, Ralph for mayor over there. Rolf, sorry, Rolf. Rolf Malf.
You'll see a bunch of kids from different schools with their school banners shortly as well.
You got some kind of hip hop thing going there.
So the Valencia car.
Did that kid have a sword? I think that kid had a sword. Oh, there's Fairmont School and
John
Sheridan over in the Ocean View. That's Sheridan School. That banner is still in the lobby of the Sheridan Grammar School. I saw somebody here with a kilt tonight, right?
So where's this? I thought it might be David Gallagher. No pressure.
I think it's Winfield Street near Esmeralda is where it is. Yeah. Oh, this. Oh. This is a gas station at the corner of Monterey and San Jose Avenue near Juiced.
In 1939-ish.
This intersection is completely obliterated now by the 280 freeway. Just nothing there. But it used to go, San Jose Avenue used to come down behind us to the right, and up to the left is Monterey Boulevard.
Near Glen Park, right?
Near Glen Park, yeah. We're kind of looking easterly. So that's Monterey Boulevard.
So this film, as we see tonight through the courtesy of our local filmmaker and friend, Scott Stark, who's collected, a wonderful filmmaker and person as well, has collected a lot of San Francisco material, and this dates from about 1939. It's Kodachrome, which, you know, if you keep it cool and dry, the colors will last hundreds of years.
32 Dodge.
32 Dodge.
I like having the car guy here. That's great.
And that's gin they're putting in there?
You can see this gas station. You can see this gas station on the 1938 aerial shots that are now on the David Rumsey collection.
All right, go.
Rumble seat.
El Taraval, somewhere. All right, you saw this last year. These are the glider trials over the Sunset District.
Yeah, people used to build their own gliders and take them out there and launch them from the hilltops.
And this is what the west side of San Francisco looked like. We think about 1920, possibly 1919. This footage turned up in a basement on 23rd Avenue. So, and Material from the Pellegrini family. This is, I believe, Sloat and the Great Highway, 1937-ish. And keep watching closely, those of you who live in the Sunset, because another one of these very unusual shots of the Sunset before it was built out. Sand dunes. Anybody place this? Okay. This is a film from 1937, 39-ish, and where are we? We're in the Sunset somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
But watch the periphery. Watch what's at the borders. These are new houses, but they're built right on the dunes.
They look like Oliver Rousseau houses, which are over near Sunset Boulevard, just east of Sunset Boulevard around 37th Avenue.
It's the 1500 block.
Well, that's almost right. Lawton
And see the dunes in the background.
palm trees, too. I like that.
And the dunes in the background there as well.
Yeah, your house would just end and then it would be nothing but sand dunes to the side. You try to plant a garden and it would be buried the next morning. Yeah, we could find where this is, Rick. David's on it.
Yeah. Nature-culture interface right there. Easter time. That's amazing.
It's a great shot.
Yeah.
Brand new. Oh, hey, there's the Brian Gate. We're going into Golden Gate Park on 19th Avenue.
In about 1959. Okay, so these are films from John Gorman, former Examiner photographer and filmmaker, from his daughter Nancy O'Gorman, and these boys have just snuck into Laurel Hill Cemetery.
So this is over near where the JCC and the old Fireman's Fund building is, between California and Masonic. Yeah, now it's UCSF. I'm sorry, I'm still living 20 years ago.
I have been looking for footage of the cemeteries for years, and some has finally showed. This is actually a little film with a narrative. There's a plot here. So
Zombies?
I won't tell.
Okay. And Richmond district boosters wanted the cemeteries out for decades because they thought it impeded progress to their district from downtown.
I think by now many of the remains have been removed, right? And they're waiting to.
Perhaps. Oh, you mean by the time this footage?
Yeah,
Oh,
by
I meant
41.
today. What's that?
Colma, did it go Colma?
Yeah, they supposedly moved the bodies to Colma, most of them, including my great-great-grandmother. She got unearthed and moved down there from Laurel Hill Cemetery. No.
That's the question.
Looking for the Illuminati.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Buena Vista.
If you go to Buena Vista Park, you can see it in the little rain gutters, little bits of headstone. You go out to the Marina District. The wave organ out there is made up of a lot of old gravestones and monuments.
It's J.R. Bob Dobbs with a pipe.
I know, that's what it looks like. That's what I was going to say. Hey, you hipsters, get out of there.
What sweater is he wearing? Is it SF?
These cemeteries fell into a lot of disrepair because they just basically started running out of money. You filled up the graveyard and you didn't get any new subscribers, and they didn't have the perpetual care money coming in, so they would get kind of overgrown and they were thought to be unsafe, unhealthy.
I mean, kids used to play with bones and stuff, right? They would bring bones home until it was a problem.
Too many bones can be a problem, yes.
No, a woman named Trina Lopez, a filmmaker, made a wonderful, wonderful film, which I urge you to order from her, called, what, The Last Final?
Final resting?
Second Final Rest.
Is that you, Trina?
It's really a great film about the movement and the controversy of the end of the cemeteries.
If you go down to 280 Metro Center, between the Home Depot and the Best Buy is a lot of the bodies from the Oddfellows Cemetery got dumped there, and there's one little marker that's kind of broken in the middle. Uh-oh.
That's Dick Cheney's tomb right there.
You can't kill them.
Look at those guys.
So at the same time, Mr. Gorman also photographed the cemeteries in color in Kodachrome. So I put a little bit of this in too. Just I have never seen home movies of the cemeteries.
I don't want that to be my home. Home movie.
This was 16 millimeter, correct? It's just one roll, one short roll.
They started, most of the cemeteries were moved in the late 30s, early 40s is I think when the last ones were moved. But they had 4 big cemeteries, Calvary, Masonic, Laurel Hill, and the Oddfellows Cemetery, and they were all centered around Gary and Masonic. 49, there was still some. Yeah, you can still get a niche at the columbarium and be interred and say, oh, here's U.S. Senator David Broderick's tomb. He died in a duel over near Lake Merced in 1859, and he was buried in Laurel Hill.
That thing's huge. That might still be his tomb.
Somebody's laughing about that.
What was that?
So what happened to all the monuments?
The monuments were, like we said, we were broken up and used as seawall material. And if you paid for it, if you owned one of them or your relative was buried there, you could pay to have it moved down to the cemeteries in Colma, but most people didn't or they couldn't be located. So they broke it up and used it for building supplies. And that's progress.
I guess a bunch were dumped as coastal reinforcement off of Sloat.
Yeah, out near the beach.
Yeah.
You know, the library has a nice picture of these kids playing on all these tombstones out at the beach. Which part? Buena Vista, right? Yeah. I'm feeling kind of old right now, Rick, you know? I'm feeling closer to the grave. Does this get perkier? Or?
Hey, it's the evidence. Bow down, it's the evidence. It's almost over, Woody.
I don't like the sound of that either.
Nice cuffs.
You know, they found a headstone at Raoul Wallenberg High School. They were doing some work recently and found a headstone there.
So we're still in the Richmond district. This is Geary Boulevard. I think around 1963, heading east from, right, the Coronet Theater in the background, Collins Avenue, Collins Street.
You should see the bridge on the right there. Yeah. Bridge theater.
The bridge, support our neighborhood theaters.
Hamburg.
Hal's Hamburgers.
I don't know. This is before the Gary Tunnel was put in, huh?
I believe so.
I bet Lucky Penny or Copper Penny's still over there. What do you think? Is Copper Penny over there back then? Oh, there's the pub. It's open.
Pub.
Look, all those cars over there. Yeah,
Sears.
Sears. The cars are lined up to get into Trader Joe's over there. I can see them.
Right, somebody described their neighborhood as Trader Joe's Heights.
Yeah, Kaiser on the left. I always wondered, does anybody know what happened to the murals that used to be in the Sears? They had those sort of gold rush murals on the walls.
By the way, Richard Brautigan lived in one of those buildings across from Sears in the background.
Trout fishing in America.
No. Okay, where are we? Western Addition, I know that, but there's a laundry which may be on Ellis Street that's about to come up, so we could be on Ellis. The Henry Laundry.
Looks ripe for redevelopment. Yeah, that's Golden Gate Avenue, is that right? Yeah.
So these are, I've shown this clip before, but many of you have not seen it. These are members of the Black Panther Party and an outtake from a film made by California Newsreel, and they're postering in the area of Divisadero. You'll see a few landmarks in a bit. This is pretty early. This is, I'm going to say, 67, 68?
Huey.
The artwork of Emory Douglas, the poster, newspaper, and multimedia artist of the Black Panther Party.
See if you can pick out the FBI infiltrator.
Liner Liquor Lobby. So, a family from Michigan. The man was a delegate to the Republican National Convention, and these are the home movies he shot in San Francisco and on the convention floor.
Back then, they were radicals.
Haven't done the research.
At Harvey, yeah.
picture of Harvey's in our collection.
There's Alma Spreckles up there. Ah, City of Paris. They can go to the White House too? That's right. It was a different era.
Anybody remember who was running?
Eisenhower.
Did you vote for Stevenson?
Yeah. I sold my vote. Bald guys rule.
The Republican Party, was remembered as the party of Abe Lincoln, and the Democratic Party was the party of Southern segregationists. So there were still quite a number of African Americans who loyally voted Republican, and a few of them were at the convention. There's an odd walkie-talkie from a newsman, mid-century modern. Some of these are recognizable faces, but not in my consciousness, unfortunately. We'll see one person I could recognize. I'm not good on my Republicans.
Yeah, you've seen one fat bald guy, white bald guy, you've seen it all.
Yeah, it looks nice. Senator Everett Dirksen there in the background, who had a spoken word recording career. And there's Nixon, accepting the vice presidential nomination. And Eisenhower with an arm in the front, down in front. So, courtesy once again of Jack Tilmany, this was a film. The context was the Preparedness Day parade in San Francisco, and 1916 there was a bombing, and Tom Mooney was arrested and framed for that bombing and served quite a long time in prison. Mooney and Billings, yes, thank you.
Well, I think I like the giant woman dropping money better.
The Wobblies.
What the?
And now for our finale. Can we turn it up a tiny bit, the volume? Made in 1955 by a skilled amateur, Tullio Pellegrini.
San Francisco. Within its 45 square miles is contained one of the most colorful and romantic cities in the world. Approaching from the south, the traveler views with sudden excitement the city bursting its white towers into the blue California sky.
Seal Stadium.
But it is from the east that the city reveals its famous profile, framed by the silver towers of the Bay Bridge.
This film was rediscovered thanks to Don Van Creveld.
Credited with having stopped the onslaught of the 1906 Van Ness Avenue still remains one of San Francisco's broadest thoroughfares. California Palace of the Legion of Honor, one of San Francisco's finest museums, is an exact replica of the Legion of Honor in Paris. The once ski resort of the 90s is now a modern restaurant fronting the Pacific Ocean and overlooking Seals Rocks.
People were so scared to get on that thing. It moved like 5 miles an hour, cost a quarter or something, but they always thought it was going to collapse.
When did it collapse?
I think 61. There's the surf club.
Just below the Smith House is a year-round amusement park.
Big Dipper's there, so
Yeah, the Big Dipper went down in 55? 55? Sometime in the, maybe earlier.
diving bell.
There's the Joa, or however you say it. It's an old Goya. Is he an artist? Slope Boulevard. Labor Day weekend 1972 was the last day of Playland.
Areas that border the ocean return eastward toward the heart of the city.
That's before. Here's the Castro Theater.
Castro Theater, yeah.
In the center of the city lies San Francisco's famous Twin Peaks. Reached by a spiraling road, the summit commands a spectacular view of the encircling city.
Hand signal. Way down. There's Alvarado School before it was.
Market Street.
Castro Theater on the lower right.
Downtown area stretches like a broad ribbon from Twin Peaks to the ferry building. This intersection of Powell and Market Street in downtown San Francisco is located one of the terminals of the Powell Street cable car lines. To reverse their direction, the cable cars are pushed onto the unique turntable and swung around manually by the motorman and the conductor, much to the delight of the riders and spectators. There There is no end to the interesting places one may visit in San Francisco. The ferry building, the churches and colleges. Or the tourist may prefer a leisurely drive along the many scenic boulevards.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold your breath.
For the true adventurer, there is that final thrill of flying down the world's most crooked streets. 8 careful turns in a single drop.
Very inspiring.
Professional driver closed course.
I don't think you can go down this street. like this.
San Francisco, the cosmopolitan city, queen of the Pacific, the city by the Golden Gate, truly the city of many wonders.
That's great. That's a great shot.
Nice job.